Good morning-ish Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching this, you're checking in. I'd like to talk a little bit about the election. Hot topic, right? I want you to know that we're all people. And because you don't agree with another person does not make that other person bad. There have been many shit elections. Like, you think this is hard just because you're living in this time and you're seeing it firsthand. But I mean, the Adams Jefferson election. Jefferson wrote in the local paper, and the paper back then in the 1800s or whatever was the internet, wrote in the local paper, which he owned, of course, that uh, Adams was a hermaphrodite. And Adams rebutted by writing, having put in the local paper where he was, because he owned the newspaper, that Jefferson had died. All right, this is not the first shit election, and it won't be the last. And it probably only get worse due to, the easiness and readiness of information. Crazy pills. But there's just too much hate involved. Okay, I can understand you wanting a person to be elected, but that doesn't mean that you need to be so divided that you hate someone else because they disagree with you. All right, everyone disagrees with everybody about at least one thing. I don't care if you're family or friends or your spouse. All right, we need to stop the hate, stop the division. The division is what's going to break this country apart. And that can mean anything from government takeover to civil war to, anything and everything. I mean, it's shit. We're so divided. And I don't care who you're voting for. And you shouldn't care who I'm voting for. The point is, you need to vote, but you need to understand that just because I vote for someone who you're not voting for, that doesn't make me a shit person. Because I'm not. I've got my own views, just like you do. And that's what makes, America what it is that we have that option. We're not China where we have to go with what the government tells us. Or North Korea, what the government tells us. And if we don't go with what the government tells us, then we get, locked up, tortured, put to death, persecuted, shunned, evicted, whatever. It's hard. And I know it's a lot of stress involved. There's a lot of stress involved, but don't take it to the point where you just absolutely say you're voting for this person. I freaking hate you. You're a shit person, and I hope you die and get syphilis and head cancer because you're voting for another person that I'm not voting for. Just try and put it in perspective. All right, I'm not saying you've got to adhere to what everyone else is believing if they believe different beliefs than you, but at least have an open mind to listen to them and see where they're coming from. And that could be anything from PETA to the Second Amendment. Just, you don't have to like their decision, but at least respect it. Because, they have their beliefs and they have those beliefs for a reason. And that's what makes them who they are. And by hating someone for their belief, you're basically just telling them that they don't matter as a person. And that they need to see things how you see them or they're not right. And that ain't right. I used to get real into politics. I used to read the paper every day, and I can tell you my stress level was way up here. Now I try to listen to non-bias radio stations and get my information from there. I don't focus on whether it be CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, honky tonk, whatever you get your information. Try and vet out the BS and try and vet out the super how can I put it? The super bias. Because that's what's tearing the country apart is bias. I mean, I'm in Kentucky, and it's almost a prerequisite to be a basketball fan here. You're either a UK fan or a U of L fan, and people get super hardcore about it. But you don't see them in the street fighting each other, because they want the Cats to win or because they want Louisville to win. They can sit down at a sports club and they can wear their jerseys and whatever, and they can still be civil to each other. We need to escalate that kind of tolerance to everyday life and to the election. These elections are only going to get worse if we stay worse, if we keep getting worse with them. We've got to understand that, we have choices here. And just because someone's choice isn't yours doesn't mean that it's the wrong choice. And you just gotta, you gotta suck it up and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't liked certain presidents. I particularly don't like any of Congress. But they've been elected, and they were elected for a reason because the majority of the people voted for them. Okay? And that's what it's about. It's about the majority of the people. And if you aren't one of those majority, don't take it to heart. All right? It's a fair election, which means you raised your hand, said I'm voting for this person. Someone else said I'm voting for that person. And there were either more of them or more of your side. And whoever it was won. And that's as simple as it gets. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as it gets. But don't take it to heart. Okay? We're all in this together. We're all one country. Okay? If you're a liberal or a conservative or a Democrat or a Republican or an anarchist or an independent or whatever, you're still an American. First and foremost, you're an American. So let's start acting like it. Okay, this country has survived as long as it has for a reason. And it wasn't because, we took up all kinds of crazy actions because our incumbent lost. It's because we understood that it sucks. I feel bad. It's disheartening. But we're going to keep going and we're going to keep moving forward. And that's what we got to do is keep moving forward. Just trying to put it in perspective, man. All right? We're all people. Even the people we're voting for, they put their pants on just like we do every morning. We're all people. Try to understand that. Try and, spread some tolerance. So what we need is more tolerance and understanding. And it kind of hurts my heart at all the hate involved. And you can sit there and point fingers. That's not going to do any good. If you're that apt to want to make change, then vote for your party or your person. But understand that it doesn't always mean you're going to win. That's all I got to say about that. I hope I, rung a bell, because things just out of hand. Things are way out of hand. And it starts from the dog catcher all the way up to the president. And I understand how disheartening and how angry you feel. I really do. Because I've felt that way many times, and I still do on occasion. But to make a difference doesn't mean that you need to just completely get with the division of people and choose that one side and stick with it so adamantly that you're, hating other people on it. Because you're not hating that person, you're disliking their views and their beliefs. And how does that feel when someone does that to you? It feels like shit. So don't take that hate and keep spreading it. Break the cycle. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But I want you all to take care of each other and do one good thing today for somebody else. Spread the love. Love can conquer hate if we let it. And if you're watching this, you're checking in.